Hello, welcome to another episode of the Virtual Ninja Show. Today we are going to talk about the Defender for Cloud integration into Microsoft Defender XDR. And I have two experts with me and I let them introduce themselves. And I'm starting with Eran.
My name is Eran Shitrit. I'm a principal product manager in Microsoft Defender for Cloud, focusing on the threat protection platform. And today, as part of my role, I'll be talking about integration with XDR.
Yes, super exciting. So, and then I assume Maayan is from the other side, from the Defender XDR side of the house. Introduce yourself, please.
My name is Maayan. I'm product manager here in Defender XDR team, leading integrations of different products into our XDR.
So I think this is one of the recent integrations that we announced, and we already general available with that. But we never did a Ninja episode on it, so it's time. So let's quickly summarize why is this needed? And so why did we actually take that step to also integrate Microsoft Defender for Cloud into Defender XDR?
It's a great question, Heike. I think I'll start with why cloud native is important. I would like to start with the digital information acceleration that we're all part of. There's a growing importance of cloud infrastructure in the modern attack surface. This is actually fueled by multiple vectors. I want to start with adoption. We see adoption of cloud infrastructure, specifically on the multi-cloud, but not just, as this is a great opportunity for businesses to optimize the cloud resources, specifically around cost. It also can introduce additional knowledge needed from the security teams, right? They need to be familiar with the nuances of vendors and cloud infrastructure, services, and entities. When we talk about this, it also means that the organization critical assets are also stored in this cloud infrastructure. This means sensitive data. This means critical apps, but it also means critical company IP to add to that. With this great adoption and hosting of critical asset comes attacker mindset, right? Attackers are also targeting this new infrastructure. We actually see an uptick in targeted attack for this cloud native infrastructure, with attacks that start with exposed or misconfigured Kubernetes, leading to impact cloud identity and actually launching a cryptojacking attacks. As we all know, that increasing in popularity. We actually tracking that very closely, and we see a 50% uptick year over year in cloud-based cyber attack. And this integration goal is to simplify cloud native security to the SOC analyst, really on investigation and triage, really on native experiences and goals.
Yeah, thank you. So this was, of course, your site. So Maayan, what's your take on that?
Yeah, so as Eran mentioned, I think that today organization can't afford anymore this siloed approach into cybersecurity, right? So you can think about a puzzle pieces that you want to piece up that spread over some rooms in your house, right? And we in XDR are trying to combine all those puzzle pieces together. And as part of that, as Eran mentioned, as attacks on the cloud are increasingly grow, we in XDR feel that this is the right time for us to embedding cloud infrastructure protection into the XDR. We can simply think about a simple yet very common attack that's starting from a phishing email that download a malicious payload into the device and then spread into the user. And from there, let's say to an Azure storage account, for example, spreading there to another computers. As we can see, it starts from the email, but then to the device and to the user and to the cloud. And as I mentioned, the sensitive data of the organization, the business continuity components are in the cloud. And therefore, as the attackers are targeting the cloud, we are in XDR also wants to enable the customers to defend themselves from those attacks.
So, I mean, I remember years back when we had the first integration, which was, of course, because of servers, and we already had server alerts, I think, in the Defender for Endpoint portal, and now, of course, Defender XDR. So what additional workloads are now feeding into the Defender portal? Like, what is that new integration?
Actually, this is a very, very interesting question. So we both augmenting the coverage of servers with additional unique to MDC value, which means what about servers that does not include agent, like agentless? What about the control plane that actually manage these servers? So just by looking at servers or VMs, as we can often call them, we can see that just by introducing MDC into the mix, you get a lot of value by looking at all your environment, both agent and agentless, but also the control plane that actually managing this infrastructure.
You know, we also have other integrations coming more and more into the Defender XDR portal. So my usual question is, will that current portal, like in this case, it's the Azure portal, will that go away or will it always stay? So what's your take on that? And I remember I asked you that question already when we had an internal meeting about this. So please.
Great question, Heike. It's actually interesting. We are currently in the transition. Today, we're talking about the integration with XDR, which of course talk about the SOC analyst persona, right? We are actually augmenting the SOC analysts with a cloud native or cloud infrastructure data. But we also need to remember that we are serving the cloud workload persona, which is actually a persona that is more familiar or is more intimate with the cloud infrastructure, know exactly how this infrastructure is built, which key vault serve which servers, right? And this persona actually need a different place. So to your question, the SOC analyst will get the augmented view in XDR, while in the meantime, the workload owner will stay in the Azure portal. But we have planned to combine these two in the upcoming quarters to actually unify that into one holistic view.
Okay, thank you. Maayan, so how do we get that integration to work? Is this just a toggle or what do they need to do?
So actually, it's not even a toggle. It's about automatic enrollment, which means that if you have MDC deployed on one of your subscriptions in your tenant, you're automatically enrolled to this integration. You will enjoy from all the goods that we will speak later on, including alerts, incident correlation, advanced hunting data, entity context, and so on and so forth. It's not even a toggle, as I said. It's just automatic if you have MDC deployed on your subscriptions.
Okay, but that brings another question. So how about permission? So I would assume that in the Defender for Cloud world, someone created rules and groups, and now we also have our ARBAC on the Defender side of the house. So how does this work with the permissions?
Yeah, so we have actually a good news here as well, because we actually added Defender for Cloud as a completely new workload into unified RBAC in Defender XDR, which means that you can fit into your organization's needs by creating specific roles that control who can see and, of course, respond to Defender for Cloud alerts and so on. So I think the idea here is not just putting the data into the portal, but also allowing you to select which personas in the SOC will see this data. And actually, we are providing an extra level of that by providing a one-time mapping between the existing roles that some customers have in Defender for Cloud into the unified RBAC roles in Defender XDR. Eran, do you want to elaborate about that?
Yeah, that is actually exciting. So without any manual work that you need to do, any tenant level, which in MDC speak, it's when you have administrator for all the subscription, translating subscription to tenant, will be automatically available for you in XDR. So you don't have to do any additional work in this part.
So you talked about tenants, subscriptions, and I'm totally new to Defender for Cloud. So how can I think of that? And will all of them feed into my Defender XDR, or is it one specific one? Do I need to map them? Do I need to merge them? Is this just working?
You're actually correct. You don't have to do anything. So since XDR is a tenant level, all the information in MDC is just flowing to the XDR. Any subscription that you enable MDC on, you'll get to see the data in XDR, giving the same tenant.
That's beautiful. So does Defender for Cloud have the concept of incidents? And will we have new incidents, or will we correlate the alerts with our incidents or create new incidents? How is that working?
we worked very hard with our counterpart in XDR team to make sure that we have a seamless experience when translating MDC alert and incident. Incident can be tricky in the MDC world into alert and incident in the XDR world. So the first part, the alert, is actually translated one-to-one. Every alert in MDC, apart from informational alert, will be translated into the XDR. We're not moving the informational because they can cause alert fatigue. From that on, we worked hard to make sure that we send the correlation rule needed for incident to our counterpart in XDR to create both complex MDC incidents, but also incidents that span across the complete attack vectors, which means multiple attacks combine the MDC incidents or create MDC incident with alerts from MDC and identity and others, as we're going to see later in the demo.
Wow. So Eran, we are bringing the alerts and incidents now in Defender XDR. So Maayan, I know that we also integrate with Sentinel. So when someone has now a connector between Defender for Cloud and Sentinel, will those signals now come twice from all the direction, or like, what are we doing here?
So we are providing to Sentinel customers simple instructions how to update their connector and actually disable the old one. And hence, we are actually ensuring that those alerts and incidents will not be duplicated and providing them the full experience as exactly like we are providing in Defender XDR.
So what does it mean? So let's assume before the integration, there was someone who had Defender for Cloud and integration to Sentinel. So do they now need to disable that, or will the alerts come directly to us, but not anymore through Sentinel, or is there a new connector? So help me out here.
The technical details are in a very simple instructions that we can share in the comments, of course. But as I said, in general, it's to update the connector, disable the old one, and then all the alerts and incident will ingesting directly to Sentinel, exactly like XDR, via Defender XDR connector.
Good. I think I'm ready for a demo. I want to see that.
So this incident, it's about IaaS resource death, which is a pretty common one, as Eran will talk later. It starts with password spray on cloud identity, and that leading to abuse of cloud resources.
Okay.
Let's see the scope of this attack. So we can see here in the right side, we can see the related threats for this incident. And here we can see the password spray attack, the technique that initiate this incident. We can see the cloud identity abuse that I mentioned, and also the cryptojacking, which is the target actually of this attack. And of course, we can click on view report like always and see the TA report about this threat. And I think this section helps us to get the scope of this attack. And now we can start to look on the attack itself.
So I actually wanted to know, because we are looking at the graph right now, does the graph already show me what is a cloud resource or not? Do I see this in the graph here? Help me.
Heike, you touched a very good point that this is actually, we did a lot of work around representation, as you can see, very native to the SOC analyst, right? Representation of cloud resources in this full attack story. And of course, you can see them on the graph also.
Okay. Because I saw a lot of different icons. There was a cloud and there was like I don't know what it was, a container maybe, or like a box. So I wasn't sure if these icons represent Defender for Cloud or something. But thank you.
Yeah, so as Eran said, we can see here virtual machines. We can see key vaults, storage accounts, and another Azure resources or another cloud resources. And when we are clicking, for example, on these virtual machines, this entity side pane pops up, and we can see all the relevant details that actually providing the context for the analyst about this cloud resource. For example, what is the cloud environment, the resource ID, all the relevant alerts and incidents involved this cloud resource, and so on. And of course, we can click on this button in order to see the full cloud resource page.
But it's still in the Defender portal.
Exactly. Of course.
Okay. Cool. So, and I would assume we don't need to go there if we don't want to. But if you go to the alerts, it shows me as a source as well, Defender for Cloud, right? So as we have it for Defender for Identity and all of this.
Sure. So let me show you an example for that. So for example, here we can see actually an alert that combined from two signals, one from ADIP by Defender XDR and one by Defender for Resource Manager, which is part of MDC. And I think it's a good example how a signal about ARM operation from suspicious proxy IP address, followed by Tor IP address, by the way, it's combined together with AADAP, enter ID signal about risky session of sign-in user.
I have never seen an alert that is composed of two different alerts in an alert timeline. I know from the Defender world, we have events that are happening, and based on specific behaviors and events, we are creating an alert. But are we creating, I don't know, a higher alert out of two other alerts? Or is that Eran or Maayan, whoever, that specific context that we have now in, like, also from the Defender for Cloud world?
This is a great example of how we fuse XDR and MDC together in one alert, right? We can see the alert coming from MDC, which is an ARM, right? A control plane action. And we immediately were able to fuse that with additional and augment that value with MDA, which is a risk user session. Perfect example.
Perfect. So thanks for explaining, Eran. Maayan, where are we going next in your demo?
It's really interesting to see this combination of signals from two different products. We also can, of course, click on this user and see details. We can learn, for example, that Bianca has a high risk, actually, and another hint that can help the analyst in the investigation. Now, following this initial access, we can see also an activity from a Tor address. This alert is actually from MDA, from Defender for Cloud Ops. However, it gives us this context about the Tor IP address, which gives us more confidence about these threats. Following that, we can see the password spray, again here by Enter ID, that gives us the context of password spray attack against this user. Now I want to jump into another phase of this attack, the phase of using microburst to enumerate resources on the subscription. This is an MDC alert, actually. And here we can see how Defender for Cloud is living natively in the world of XDR. We can see here all the required details about this alert, including all the very, very technical details that help the analyst to get the full scope. We can see highlighted the relevant entities. We can see here, for example, the user, we can see the IP address, and also we can see the relevant Azure resource that involved in this phase, and so on.
So that means, I mean, this is a huge incident, right? So there's a lot of alerts. There is various alerts regarding identities, Defender for Cloud apps, but a lot of different alerts coming from Defender for Cloud. And without, of course, getting all these alerts either this way or into the Defender portal, how will you get the whole story together? So I think that is an amazing example to see that you need to have them all in one and correlated together to then tell you the whole full story. If you rename an alert, if you assign an incident or alert, is this also bidirectional back to Defender for Cloud, that someone sees that incident is closed or something? How is that working?
Yeah, as part of this integration,
What was the big question? Of course.
Of course, they're going to be synced. Either if you close or update an incident on the MDC portal or the XDR portal, the incident or the alert status will be synced.
Wonderful. So can you perform action? I know from other sources, right? We can, for instance, say, I don't know, reset the password or isolate the machine. Or, I mean, is there something that people can do in MDC?
Great question, Heike. As part of XDR, there are native ways to respond to an attack, right? There are various ways to do that. One of them is identity. And of course, you can respond to an identity even on cloud infrastructure entities. Responding on cloud native entities is something that is on our plate currently. and we're thinking about it.
Yes. And, it's with everything. And I keep saying this, of course, because we improve and we, enhance our experience, our integrations. So everyone stay tuned. So Eran, Maayan mentioned at the beginning of the demo that you want to elaborate on something.
Thanks, Heike, for sure. So what I want to reiterate is this is actually a real-world scenario. We see that example, this IS resource theft, which actually has a cryptojacking campaign with increasing popularity in the wild. NDC research were able to detect this cryptojacking pattern with the passport spray campaign impacting a cloud identity, going to subscription ownership, and were able to abuse large number of tenants in the wild, and were able to impact a large amount of money in compute resources. So this is real.
Wow. Okay, so we saw a great demo, Maayan and Eran. So I think, of course, bringing all these signals, that experience actually into the Defender XDR portal also brings additional new capabilities for maybe Defender for Cloud security analysts. So they will be able to do advanced hunting. They will be able to look at the threat analytics reports and a lot of other features and functions that are part of the Defender portal. And of course, it's worth coming back and looking around because, as we said, things will improve and new things will be added. One thing that I saw was it's also part of our API, the public API, so people can already extract the data to wherever they want to have it and include it in their other processes. I think I asked all the questions that I had, but I want to give you guys the chance to, your last words. And I'm starting again with Eran. So before we close the episode, what are your final call to actions maybe for people?
So first of all, thanks for having me, Heike. I really enjoyed this session. And as a product leading this, first of all, please use it and share your feedback with us. What's working for you? What's missing? Where your flows are working great? What you would like to see next? How would you like to operationalize this in your organization? We are always open for feedback. And actually, please join our private and public preview because more is coming.
Thank you. Yes. And then also for you, Maayan, please.
Yeah, so thank you, Heike. It was a pleasure. I think that, as I said, it's not only about the single pane of glass, but it's about depicting the full attack story. We invested a lot of efforts in this integration, and we really hope that it will be useful for you. And please share your feedback with us.
Thank you so much. So thanks everyone for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.